This is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin by telling you to take it easy on the roads, especially in parts of Minnesota. This was taken on Highway 71 just south of Bemidji. You can see snow and ice on the road. Our North Dakota Today crew made it back from there doing a show today. They said it took over 3 hours to get home. And there's more. Stretches like Highway 75 south of Moorhead, Highway 34 west of Park Rapids, and U.S. Highway 2 between East Grand Forks and Bemidji are a few other spots that are also dealing with slick conditions. And when driving in any town, Easy does it at intersections and roundabouts. Street crews have been working, but there are spots where you could lose control. Let's go to someone who's always in control of weather coverage. Hutch Johnson joins us now with the latest on the much colder temps and wind chills. Hutch?
Mike, thank you so much, and good evening, everyone. That storm system long gone, but not before leaving quite impactful weather across the area. As Mike was talking about, that icy condition is key. And this system tonight, well, we're quiet. We still have clouds. That wind still gusty, but it's starting to taper off just a pinch now as we head into the evening hours. Here's a look at the clouds. They're exiting off to the east. The snow showers north of Badette are exiting as well. But I do want to point out a couple of things as we take a look at the storm system that made its way through last night. This was an historic storm because we've had two confirmed tornadoes now from southern Minnesota. First time ever we've had December tornadoes in the month of December. 1 to 2 inches of rain. We had rain showers across much of the state of Minnesota that flash froze as that cold Canadian air rose over. The snow, well, it didn't produce as much snow as I was anticipating. 0 to 3 as a rule across western Minnesota, a trace to up to 2 inches here in the eastern third of North Dakota, and that's that system. But the gusty winds, boy, they were trouble. 56 miles per hour. The Mike needs extra pump of hairspray with that kind of wind. Now we turn our attention to the temperatures. Single digits now, wind chills 10 to 20 below out there. Put a survival kit in your car and drive careful. I'll have hour-by-hour details. Mike, more flakes in the forecast for Friday. Even more than the last system brought because it'll be colder. I'll have details.
Winter sure is here now.
It is.
All right, thanks. Crews are surveying storm damage in southern Minnesota. The hardest hit city, Heartland in Freeborn County. That's just northwest of Albert Lea. One man tells us his two-car garage ended up about a block away.
Well, I was sitting on the couch and a loud noise happened and sirens went off. I went down the basement and just a loud bang. Everything went quiet and dark and come out and the garage is gone and the roof is off.
Meanwhile, the recovery effort continues across the southeastern part of our country, with dozens still missing after deadly tornadoes last weekend. Jay Gray has been on the ground since the initial strike. He reports from hard-hit Mayfield, Kentucky.
There are two very different and very difficult missions in Mayfield right now. The cleanup, search, and recovery, and the effort to support survivors, many who've lost everything.
They have food, water, supplies, they have tarps for cars, tarps for buildings, toys and everything in there.
This massive distribution center is a place in constant motion. Donations coming in, essentials that often outside the strike zone are taken for granted, but here are literally a lifeline for so many in need.
Just being able to help a little bit to see how much that changes and to be able to put a smile on somebody's face, maybe that hasn't smiled for a week.
It's been 6 days since the storms, with crews in many areas working around the clock. Still, even those who've seen their share of disasters are overwhelmed by all of this.
And you look at just the breadth and depth of destruction, just the path, how long it went, and just individual homes destroyed all along the way, forests, everything. It's really incredible.
Wow. Overnight, more severe weather continuing into today and battering the Midwest. Hundreds of thousands without power after reports of more than a dozen tornadoes on the ground.
It was crazy, and it sounded like a train just going through.
A sound and situation they are all too familiar with across the southeast right now. Jay Gray.
Now, there are ways that you can help those in tornado-ravaged parts of our country. You can donate directly to the Salvation Army's disaster relief efforts in those states by texting HL Tornado to 51555. You can also donate online by going to our website, valleynewslive.com, and clicking on this story. Your entire donation will go toward the disaster relief operation that you select. The FBI is now involved in the search to find a missing teen from Bemidji. 15-year-old Neve Lee Kingberg was reported as a runaway on October 22nd. Kingberg has not been in contact with family or friends since she was seen leaving a home in Southview Terrace Park. She's Native American with a light complexion. She stands 5 feet 4 inches tall. She weighs 120 pounds. She has long dark hair with highlights, a scar near her left eyebrow, and brown eyes. If you have any information, please call police. In Jamestown, a police officer is recovering after injuries from being assaulted while on the job. Police were called to an apartment on the southwest side of the city for a welfare check. That's where they say a fight broke out between Seth Burkle and family members. When the officer intervened, Burkle started punching him. He suffered cuts and bruises to his face. We're getting closer to Kim Potter taking the stand in her own defense. She's the former Brooklyn Center, Minnesota police officer who shot and killed Dante Wright and is expected to testify tomorrow. After the prosecution rested its case this morning, the defense called the city's former police chief, Timothy Gannon. He told jurors that Potter was a fine officer, that he saw no violation of policy, procedure, or law when he watched the video of the incident. Potter shot Wright, saying afterwards she intended to use her taser. The 10 people who lost their lives in a massive crowd surge at the Astro World Music Festival last month in Houston died from compression asphyxia. The medical examiners said that he had to wait several weeks following Travis Scott's concert for additional test results before making final determinations on the cause of deaths. Around 300 people have been injured and dozens of lawsuits have been filed. No one has been charged, but the investigation is still ongoing. Scott's attorney reached out to the victim's family to pay for the funeral costs, but several of them have turned down the offer. The CDC is warning that early data shows Omicron cases in the U.S. are doubling about every 2 days. Scientists have found the new COVID-19 strain in 36 states. Dr. Anthony Fauci says that the current vaccines offer protection from Omicron and there's no need for a variant-specific booster. But Omicron, along with the surge in Delta cases, may push hospitals to the brink during the holiday season. The CDC's forecasts up to 1.3 million new coronavirus cases in the U.S. by Christmas. We're heartbroken, we're overwhelmed. That's the message that doctors and nurses are sending out 21 months into the pandemic. Valley News Team's J.C. Dodd spoke with a local ER doctor who says they're seeing more patients in need of care.
The situation is critical. Our emergency departments are overfilled. This pandemic has strained our operations and demoralized many people on our teams. All words used in Essentia Health's post, sparking more than 3,000 comments. Dr. Christopher Anderson has been in the Fargo ER working to save lives since the start of the pandemic.
A tough job.
And lately,
it's very consistently high volumes. It gets tiring. I mean, you're seeing a lot of patients. You're seeing a lot of sick patients.
As healthcare systems face critical staffing shortages, they say more and more people are seeking treatment.
I think it's just all those factors come together and make it a challenge. There are physical limits to how many people we can fit in this hospital.
In the emergency room, Dr. Anderson says they're trying their best.
Seen by who you need to be seen by and get you the procedure that you need done.
Heading into the holidays, he says it's back to basics. Wash your hands, keep your distance, wear a mask.
Yeah, that would help us out a ton.
And most importantly, what they really need is more people to get vaccinated.
The people that are here doing this work are warriors, and I mean that.
In Fargo, J.C. Dodd, Valley News Alive.
And along with COVID, the flu season is here. Doctors are urging people to get vaccinated against both. A CDC advisory panel says the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are recommended over Johnson & Johnson. They expressed concerns about the risk of rare but potentially life-threatening blood clots linked to the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. At least 54 people in the U.S. have been hospitalized because of the blood clots, and 9 have died. The CDC's director still needs to sign off on the recommendation. Stick around, a little safety update after the weather. We're going to check the ice thickness at a couple of lakes in our viewing area.
And as we speak, the gustiest of the winds shifting off to the east. We're just breezy now. I'll have hour-by-hour details on how low we go as cold air arrives coming up right after this.